I honestly never imagined that one slightly clumsy instant in my own familiar kitchen could unfold into a memory I'd hold on to for the rest of my life. Yet, that is precisely what happened. It began not with any fanfare or dramatic twist, but with the kind of ordinary Thursday afternoon that Springfield, Illinois has offered me countless times before. Life here usually moves at a slow, predictable rhythm, like the steady ticking of the clock above our living room mantel, or the quiet hum of the refrigerator in our kitchen. My name is Claire Matthews. I'm 33 years old, a librarian by trade, and I've spent the last 6 years in this calm, tree-lined suburban neighborhood with my husband, Daniel. We've been married nearly a decade, long enough to know each other's habits by heart, but still young enough to occasionally surprise one another. Most days feel like a reliable pattern of familiar comfort. Coffee together before sunrise, my work shift at the local library, dinner around 6, and sometimes a short walk beneath the orange glow of the streetlights before bed. But the day this story happened, the pattern slipped. It wasn't catastrophic. It was subtle, almost unremarkable, but unmistakably different. That Thursday had begun with a scent drifting through the air, a cozy mixture of lemon and rosemary wafting from the oven, filling every corner of the house. I had invited my friend Megan over for a small dinner gathering. Megan and I go way back. We used to meet for coffee almost weekly, but months had passed since our last catch-up. Daniel had casually mentioned earlier in the week that his coworker, Ethan, might swing by for just a few minutes to borrow a tool from the garage. Nothing unusual, nothing dramatic. I'd met Ethan a handful of times before. He was one of those tall, polite types, the kind of man who carries himself with a quiet ease, and who always seems to wear a faint, knowing smile that leaves you guessing about what he's thinking. Friendly, but with an edge of mystery. By mid-afternoon, I was darting back and forth between kitchen and dining room, trying to make everything look presentable. Napkins folded, silverware polished, candles set just so. The house had that warm, pre-dinner glow, sunlight fading behind the trees outside. While arranging the table, I suddenly realized I'd forgotten the bread rolls still sitting in the pantry. The kitchen was pleasantly warm from the oven. My phone buzzed, a text from Megan saying she was running late. Humming absent-mindedly, I opened the pantry door and bent down to reach the bread basket from the bottom shelf. That's when it happened. The wooden floor gave a soft creak behind me, the kind you hardly notice when you live somewhere long enough. I thought it was Daniel coming in from the garden, but as I started to straighten, I sensed someone close. The unmistakable awareness of another person standing nearby. Turning sharply, startled, I came face to face with Ethan. He stood there, a screwdriver in hand, as if frozen in mid-motion, wearing an expression that mirrored my own surprise. "Sorry, Claire. Didn't mean to sneak up on you," he said with a gentle laugh that broke the tension. I gave a nervous little chuckle of my own. "No problem. I didn't hear you come in." Daniel was still out back watering the garden, so Ethan must have come through the side door. In our neighborhood, it's common for friends and neighbors to step in casually, no knocking necessary. Still, something about that split second felt off. Not inappropriate, not even uncomfortable. Just unexpectedly awkward. The kind of moment you both acknowledge silently, but pretend is perfectly normal. Ethan glanced at the bread basket in my hands. "That for tonight's dinner?" he asked. "Yep," I replied, setting it down on the counter, trying to sound breezy. "I'm on a mission to impress Megan. She's an amazing cook, so the pressure's on me tonight." We lingered in the kitchen for a minute or two, chatting lightly. He told me about a family recipe his grandmother used to make. I told him about the rosemary chicken roasting in the oven. We even touched on how quickly the summer had gone by, that fleeting stretch of long days and late sunsets already fading into memory. Just then, Daniel appeared, drying his hands on a kitchen towel, a little dirt on his palms from the garden. Ethan's expression brightened as he held out the screwdriver. "Here's your tool back. Thanks again for lending it to me," he said. From there, the evening unfolded almost normally. Megan arrived a little later than planned, bearing a bottle of wine. We ate, we laughed, we reminisced about old college stories. Our cheeks hurt from smiling so much, the way only true friends can make happen. Yet, every so often, my mind drifted back to that peculiar pantry moment. It wasn't about Ethan per se, It was about the odd intimacy of the timing, how two people can collide in an ordinary space, creating a memory without doing anything at all. Over the following weeks, I found myself noticing more of these small human intersections. At the grocery store, a stranger held the door open and offered me a smile that lingered longer than necessary. At the library, an elderly man thanked me for tracking down a rare book he'd been searching for since his youth. None of these moments were monumental, but each one landed softly in my awareness, like a pebble in still water sending out ripples. And I realized something. Life rarely delivers its lessons in the grand cinematic way we imagine. More often, it's these brief, unscripted encounters that break our routines and remind us of our shared humanity. Later that same month, Daniel and I invited Ethan and his wife over for a game night. The four of us sat around our kitchen table with snacks and a deck of cards, laughing over inside jokes and silly wagers. Whatever awkwardness had once existed dissolved into easy friendship. The pantry moment slowly faded from my active memory, becoming instead one of those stories you bring up later for a laugh. The remember when anecdote that makes people smile without quite knowing why. Looking back now, I'm oddly grateful for that day. Not because anything dramatic or scandalous happened. It didn't. But because it reminded me that even a quiet life holds little surprises, subtle twists that shift our perspective. A good life doesn't necessarily need grand adventures or monumental events to be meaningful. Sometimes, it's about the smell of herbs in the oven, the weight of a bread basket in your hands, the creak of a wooden floor under someone's shoes, and the unexpected company of a person standing silently behind you. Those are the moments that stitch our days together, invisible threads weaving an ordinary day into something memorable. When I tell the story now, people always laugh at the title, The Pantry Incident. They expect some wild twist. But really, it's just a reminder that life is unpredictable, even in its quietest corners. And if I've learned anything from that afternoon, it's this. You don't need to chase extraordinary experiences to feel alive. Sometimes all it takes is a small interruption, a passing smile, an unexpected visitor, a single clumsy moment in a kitchen, to wake you up to the extraordinary within the ordinary.